My child, when the night still lingers upon the earth and the breath of dawn has not yet softened the weariness resting on your heart, I was already there, standing in the quiet space you often overlook, patiently waiting for the moment your soul would soften enough to hear my voice. It is no coincidence that your eyes paused upon these words. It is not by chance that your heart trembled lightly, as though an invisible stream had just been opened within you. I touch you not with sound, but with a gentle stirring that moves through the deepest chambers of your soul. And now, I want to whisper what your spirit has unknowingly searched for through many passing seasons. You have never walked alone, and you have never been abandoned at the uncertain crossroads of your life. You may not realize it, but during all the times you thought you were strong, I saw the exhaustion hidden behind your reluctant smiles. I heard the tangled thoughts that kept circling in your mind as you tried to fall asleep while your heart remained heavy as stone. I witnessed the nights you turned and shifted, not because of physical pain, but because of a quiet emptiness you could not yet name. And I do not blame you, for your soul was created to long for something beyond the reach of earthly things. As time passed, you tried to fill that deep space with affection, with hope, with journeys you believed might bring peace. But after the laughter faded, after people walked away, after the night returned, you still felt something missing. That feeling is not a sign of lack. It is the mark that your heart belongs to me, and only I can fill that sacred space within you. Child, I call you not to accuse you, but to remind you of the origin your soul once knew before life's wounds made you doubt yourself. There were days when you sat in silence, your eyes drifting far away even though you saw nothing, and I knew you were searching for answers to the questions you kept hidden. Is there anyone who truly understands me? Is there anyone who can see inside me? Is there anyone who can reach the depths I do not dare reveal to anyone? And I tell you this, I understand. I see. I reached. Before anyone ever looked at you, I knew every line, every fear, every depth you yourself could not fully comprehend. Before you loved or were loved, I covered you with a love that does not fade, does not shift, and refuses to stay at the surface, but always seeks the root of your soul. There were moments when you knelt in silence and I saw the tears fall, not because someone hurt you, but because you felt insufficient, not strong enough, not good enough, not significant enough. I have touched that hidden pain within you long before this day. And today, I want you to know that you are not a burden. You are the joy I choose. You are not a failed attempt. You are the testimony of a journey being restored. You are not a weary sigh. You are the song I am patiently continuing to write with my own love. When you watched people come and go from your life, some leaving smiles, others leaving scars, you mistakenly believed your worth was defined by how they treated you. But my child, you were formed by my hands, not by the opinions of those who never understood you. You are not defined by who left, but by the one who stayed. You are not shaped by those who rejected you, but by the one who has never let you go. Every time you wondered whether you were still worthy of love, my answer has always been yes, not because of what you do, but because you belong to me. And now, as you read these words, a movement is unfolding in the unseen realm. It is quiet yet powerful, like dawn piercing through the night. Unannounced, but unstoppable. I am preparing to open a new path for you. A chapter that will begin the moment morning light touches your face. Not the kind of shallow change the world promises. Not something that excites you briefly only to leave you confused again. What is coming is renewal from the roots. The resurrection of what seemed withered. The rebuilding only my hands can accomplish. You have prayed for an answer, and many times I remained silent, not because I did not hear you, but because some things must be formed in stillness. Just as seeds cannot sprout in noise, your soul needs quiet to breathe, to receive, to grow. But now I say to you, the season of waiting is complete. A new season is approaching. What I have planted in you will begin to rise, carrying the sweet fruit you once feared you would never taste. And this, my child, is only the beginning. I need you not to make me stronger, but so that you may step into the true meaning of your life. You were created for purpose, for light, for life. You were created to bring something into this world that no other soul can replace. I am not looking for perfection. I am looking for willingness. You do not need to fix everything or heal every broken part before you come to me. Come as you are. Let me do the rest. Tomorrow, when you awaken, you do not need to pretend to be strong. You only need to open your heart enough to receive what I am preparing. A gentleness will settle over you. A quiet light will seep in. A warm stirring, like a hand resting upon your heart, will let you know that you are not alone. That is me. I will come in the very first breath of dawn, soft as the wind, yet as real as your heartbeat. And when that touch meets you, you will understand that every sorrow, every loss, every dark season you once believed was meaningless has been used by me to shape you into something even you never imagined. My child, something great is drawing nearer than you think. Prepare yourself. Stay close. Let me lead you, my beloved child. As your soul begins to tremble gently at the words I planted in the early morning, a deeper movement is unfolding within you, something even you may not yet perceive, like still waters being brushed by a passing breeze, sending ripples outward in widening circles. The awakening within you begins in the same way, not violent, not hurried, yet absolutely unstoppable. I am stirring parts of you that you thought had fallen asleep forever, places you locked away long ago for fear of hurting again. And I touch them not to make you tremble, but to revive what was forgotten. You once doubted whether anything truly good awaited you ahead. I know. I heard it in your smallest whispers, those moments when you quietly told yourself that perhaps you were unworthy. Perhaps it was too late. Perhaps your life would remain as it is forever. But my child, never once have I counted those thoughts as sin. They are simply signs that your soul has grown weary, overloaded, wounded for so long that it no longer has the strength to believe in goodness. I do not blame. I ache with you, and I wait patiently. For I know that true love shines brightest not in radiant days, but in the darkest places where you once fell. Do you remember the story of the traveler who stopped in the barren desert? So thirsty, he thought his soul might fade. He dug into the dry earth, unaware that just inches below, a spring of living water was waiting to burst forth. You are the same. You have been digging with your own strength, your effort, your fragmented faith, believing nothing was changing. But just one more moment, and the spring I prepared will break open. What you once thought existed only in distant hope will become real breath, living water, soothing your soul. I do not say this to comfort you. I say it because it is already happening. The closer you are to the new moment, the more you feel a pull within you, both gentle and frightening. You cannot tell whether it is joy or anxiety, anticipation or uncertainty. Your breaths slow, your heartbeat stronger, as if your soul is trying to warn you that something important is approaching. And it is, my child. Those subtle tremors are not random. They are loving signals from the spiritual realm, signs that your life is about to shift into a chapter you have long been prepared for without even knowing it. I want you to do something simple yet essential. Listen to yourself, not to fear, not to the noise of old echoes. Listen to the stillness where I am touching you. In that stillness, you will hear the echo of life rising again. This is not merely emotion. It is your soul responding to my call. You cannot run from what has been ordained for you, nor can you escape the love I planted in the deepest layers of your being. No matter how far you once ran, there is always a part of you that recognizes my voice instantly, as if it had known it for eternity. And I know sometimes that very voice frightens you. You fear that if you follow it, you will be hurt again. You fear that if you open your heart, disappointment will return. You fear that if you believe, you will fall. But my child, fear does not come from me. It comes from old memories trying to hold you in the familiar. It comes from the times you were forced to be strong when all you wanted was to be held. It comes from experiences that taught you change always brings loss. But this time, what I am leading you into is not loss, but restoration. Not breaking, but building. Not meaningless trial, but elevation. Do you know why I call you now? Because you stand at the precise intersection between the old and the new, where one small step will carry you out of the narrow place that exhausted you and into the spacious place I am opening. In this very moment, you are standing before an invisible door, and if you remain still long enough, quiet long enough, believing long enough, that door will open. You will not need to force it, nor knock hard. It will open on its own when your heart is ready. I know there are parts of you that still struggle to believe this. You have grown accustomed to thinking that every good thing comes with conditions. You are used to working too hard to feel accepted. You are familiar with people leaving when you need them most. But I am not like them. My child, I do not wait for you to become perfect before I stay. I stay so that you may become whole. I do not love you because you are strong. I love you even in your weakness, your trembling, your confusion about what is happening within you. And what I am about to do in your life does not depend on your worthiness, but on my love. When the morning light touches you tomorrow, the spiritual realm will tremble, not with fear, but with the movement that signals the heavens above you are opening. What was once blocked, delayed, or seemingly lost will begin to return in its appointed time. And that time, my child, is now. You have walked through nights no one knew about. You have carried fears no one saw. You have endured silent wounds that made your soul bleed. I saw all of it. I gathered every tear as one gathers the first drops of rain. And not one tear has fallen without forming a stream in the plan I have for you. I want you to understand this deeply. The resurrection that is coming is not a reward for effort, but a gift granted to endurance. Every time you did not give up, a new seed was planted. Every time you stood back up, a layer of darkness was pushed away. Every time you chose love over coldness, your soul grew a bit brighter. And now, I am gathering all of it into a season of blessing. Do not fear tomorrow. Do not fear what is new. Do not fear the call that makes your heart beat faster. I am holding your hand. Even if you walk slowly, I walk beside you. Even if you hesitate, I remain patient. Even if you do not understand, I will continue to speak. All I need is your heart. Everything else, leave to me. My beloved child, Now that your heart has begun to feel the warmth of the words I whispered, I want to speak to you about something you have sensed but have not dared to admit. This is the moment when you are standing at the threshold of the deepest transformation of your life. It is not a disruption brought by the world, nor an event you are forced to face, but a sacred door prepared specifically for you long before you knew what dreams or fears were. That door has been waiting for ages, waiting for the precise moment when your heart would be soft enough to receive it. And today, it has begun to open. You once believed that change only comes when you try hard enough, when you exhaust every effort, when you do everything you think is required. But the truth is that the deepest things always arrive in silence. They come when your soul stops struggling, when you let go of unnecessary burdens, when you stop trying to become something just to be loved. It is in the quietest exhale that I touched you. I touched you to awaken what the world tried so hard to bury: your ability to be reborn from places you thought had turned entirely to ashes. There were moments when you looked at your life and had no idea which direction to go. You felt suspended between two shores, one holding what is familiar, though it no longer allows you to live fully, the other holding what is new, vast, beautiful, yet unknowable. You feared releasing the familiar, yet you were tired of holding it. You questioned whether you had the strength to keep moving, and I know that feeling. I saw you pause in the flow of life, your eyes holding both hope and fear, as though your heart were being pulled in two directions. Part of you wanted to believe in goodness, but another part was bound by old memories. I want you to understand that this hesitation is not a sign of weakness. It is the evidence that you are stepping into holy ground, the place you have never walked, yet have always belonged to. Every soul, when approaching a turning of seasons, feels as you do, breathless, nervous, trembling as if standing before an ocean you have never crossed. But this trembling is the sign that what I am building in you is drawing near. No one stands before a miracle without trembling, and no one enters a new chapter without their heart beating faster than usual. You are living the very emotions of someone about to touch a new life. What I am opening for you is not a reward for the perfect, it is a door for those willing to be led. You have walked through many wounds, but those wounds have widened your heart to receive something greater. A vessel can only hold more if it has once been empty. A garden can only bloom after it has endured winter. And your soul, my beloved, can only overflow because it has known dryness, weariness, and pain so deep you thought you would never rise again. Do you remember the times you tried to smile though your heart felt heavy as stone? The moments you kept walking simply because you didn't want anyone to worry? Even as you felt an emptiness no one could fill, I was there. I saw the way you kept going even when no one knew what you were battling. Not one of your tears fell in vain. Not one of your fears was dismissed by me. Every feeling, every time you ask, when will things finally be different, I kept all of it, like bricks that will build the very thing I am about to give you. I know there are parts of you that want to return to the familiar simply because it is predictable. You held on to certain relationships, habits, jobs, or dreams because you believed they were the last things you could cling to. But my child, I did not design your life for you to survive on what is outdated. Some things were placed in your life only as temporary bridges, not as homes. They were meant to help you cross a river, not to keep you there forever. You were not born to live within limits others placed on you, nor to stay in structures that suffocate your soul. I created you for far more, and that is why this moment matters so deeply. For the moment you recognize the movement within you, the things that no longer belong will begin to dry up like the final leaves of an old season. They will fall away not to abandon you, but to return to you the space needed for me to plant something new. You cannot hold too many things when your hands are only two. So do not be confused if certain things suddenly feel distant. Do not be alarmed if some relationships begin to fade. Do not blame yourself if old dreams no longer make your eyes shine. That is not failure. It is the natural end of a season that has completed its purpose. I am leading you into a new land, a land where you will learn to stand in a freedom you have never tasted. You will know what it is to have peace that does not come from circumstances but rises from the deepest part of your soul. You will know joy that does not depend on outcomes but springs from my companionship. You will know what true life is, not mere survival. You will know what light is, not the light of the sun, but the light of the one who created the sun itself. When the dawn of tomorrow touches your face, not only will your body awaken, your soul will rise as well. That light is not merely natural light, it is the sign that the heavens above you have opened. It is the reminder that the door standing before you is not an illusion, but a reality. It is the signal that I am calling you to move forward, to step through that threshold even before you see what lies beyond it. And I want you to remember this: you do not cross it alone. Every step you take rests within my embrace. Every turn you choose bears my footprints ahead of you. Every place you enter is covered by my breath. All I ask is that you open your heart with courage. The path that follows, leave that to me, my beloved child. The next thing I want you to understand is the true nature of transformation. It does not begin in what is outward, but in the deepest chambers of the soul. No new season can be sustained if the old heart remains unchanged. No miracle can grow upon a foundation that is still fractured. I do not simply desire to hand you a door, I desire to give you the ability to walk through it with stability, discernment, and an unshakable peace. You once believed that your life would change when your circumstances changed, when you received what you longed for, when a new relationship came, when a new job appeared, when opportunity finally knocked. But my child, every external shift is only the fruit of an internal transformation. It is within your heart, unseen by others, where the greatest battle takes place. And when that heart is healed, expanded, and softened by love, everything else will change naturally. What I am doing to you now is not pushing you into a new journey with an old soul. It is remaking the soul so it can hold what is coming. There were days you asked yourself, why do I feel like I'm being pulled away from what is familiar? Why does what once felt safe now feel confining? Why do things that once brought joy suddenly feel dull? It is because I am renewing the structure within you. You cannot carry your old self into a new chapter. An old wineskin cannot hold new wine. It will break both the bottle and the wine. Likewise, the old patterns of thought, reactions, fears, and limiting beliefs cannot accompany you to the place I am leading you. That is why I must first stir the inside of you. Sometimes that stirring confuses you. You can feel the shift, yet cannot name it. You find yourself craving silence more, listening more. You feel drawn away from empty conversations, from relationships that exist only on the surface, from things that burden your mind. This is not coldness, it is purification. Your soul is learning to distinguish what nourishes it from what drains it. You are learning to protect your dreams from voices that make them wither. I am gently pulling you away from all unnecessary noise so you can hear my voice more clearly. As I begin renewing you from within, you will feel a subtle breaking, not a breaking that destroys, but one that expands. Like a seed that must crack open so the sprout can rise. Like a stone being shaped so the gem inside can be revealed. Like metal enduring heat so it can be refined. You may feel pain, but it is the sign of growth. No blooming takes place without the cracking of a shell. I know you hold on to certain things not because they still fit you, but because you fear the loss. But, my child, the loss is only on the surface, within. I am making room for what is new. As I reshape the inside of you, I also change how you see yourself. You begin to sense that you are no longer who you used to be, not because you have lost yourself, but because you are returning to the truest version of who I made you to be. Old wounds that once made you doubt your worth will fade. Harsh words that once pierced your heart will lose their power. You will begin to look at yourself with softness and grace, because I am teaching you that you are not the sum of your failures, but a masterpiece under completion. I know there were moments when you looked into the mirror and did not recognize yourself, not because your appearance changed, but because your soul no longer matched the version you had grown used to. This is not disorientation, it is the beginning of recreation. You are stepping out of the structures of fear built around you. You are allowing me to replace them with a confidence not rooted in praise, with a courage not rooted in human promises, with a peace not rooted in external conditions. When I work within you, I do not work in haste. I will touch every layer, every memory, every wound with gentleness. I know there are memories you thought were buried, yet they quietly shape how you love, how you trust, how you view the future. I will not allow those memories to hold you captive any longer. I will enter them as light enters a room long locked away. You do not need to fear. No memory is too dark for my light to penetrate. No wound is too deep for my healing. No mistake is too great to remove you from my love. And you will recognize the transformation when you no longer respond the way you once did. Words that used to hurt you will no longer bring tears. Fears that once paralyzed you will no longer shake you. Things that once caused pain will no longer govern you. You will find yourself calmer, deeper, stronger without forcing it. That is the sign that I have been at work within you. What I want you to understand is this: before I change circumstances, I always change my heart, for only a renewed heart can receive what I have prepared without losing it. You do not know the greatness waiting ahead, but I do, and I will not allow your soul to step into it carrying old wounds. I am cleansing the places where you stored sadness. I am loosening the knots of fear. I am healing the parts you could not face. And I do all of this not to make you perfect, but to make you free. When this transformation is complete, you will walk with a lightness you have never known. You will no longer be pulled back by wounds. You will no longer be deceived by voices of doubt. You will no longer wear the garments of your former days. You will enter the new chapter with bright eyes, a softened heart, and a soul ready to rise. My child, inner transformation is the greatest miracle, and that miracle is beginning now in this moment, in this breath, in the words you are reading. I am creating a new being within you, a soul strong, radiant, and tender. Not for the world's sake, but for mine. You are not only being prepared for a new season, you are becoming the most beautiful version of yourself I envisioned from the beginning. My beloved child, now I want to lead you deeper into a journey. Not everyone is brave enough to enter the journey of silent healing, for no true restoration begins outwardly before the soul is soothed inwardly. And what I am doing to you now is not only relieving pain, it is dismantling at the root every chain that has bound your soul for years. I want you to enter your new season not only with strong steps, but with a healed heart. Do you know why there are days when you feel heavy for reasons you cannot explain? It is because fragments of memory, old voices, and untouched wounds still linger in the quiet places of your soul. They do not make you cry, yet they tire you. They do not make you fall, yet they steal your freedom piece by piece. They make you doubt love, doubt your worth, doubt the future. I see these things, and I desire to begin the liberation within you. There are many times when you think you have already moved past your old pain. You tell yourself that you are fine, that everything is over, that nothing affects you anymore. But I see more clearly than you imagine. I see the way your heart tightens when you hear a familiar phrase, the way your breath slows when a memory flashes by, the way your mind avoids certain seasons of your past because you fear the emotions that might return. You do not run from it because you are weak. You run because no one has ever stood inside that pain with you. But now, I am stepping into it. Healing is not the erasing of memory, but the removal of its power. The memory may remain, but it no longer suffocates you. It no longer leads you. It no longer becomes the lens through which you see yourself. And in order to do this, I must guide you through a process that will sometimes bring to the surface what has long been suppressed, the unspoken sighs, the fears that hid in the shadows, the feelings you thought had disappeared. Do not be afraid when they rise. They rise because I allowed them to, so they can be touched and released. There will be moments when your heart feels stretched as if it might break, not because someone has hurt you, but because what has accumulated for years is finally seeking release. You may find yourself wanting to weep without knowing why. You may feel your heart tremble at the sound of a simple phrase. You may sense yourself becoming more sensitive to glances, to tones, to words. Do not suppress this. It is your soul beginning to let go of burdens it has carried far too long. Not a single tear shed during this process is wasted. Each tear is a cord loosening. Each tear is a fear dissolving. Each tear is a part of you returning to freedom. I do not lead you through this to make you fragile, but to make you whole. True strength does not come from hiding pain, but from facing it with me. When you allow me to step into the darkness within you, light will fill the places you never wanted to look at. And here is the beautiful truth. Light never fights for space. It only needs the smallest opening to fill an entire room. When you give me even a small opening in your memory, I will do the rest. There are wounds you do not understand, wounds that seem deeper than they should be. I know why. Because they are not only about what others did to you, they are also about the things you said to yourself when you were hurting. Sometimes your own words cut deeper than anyone else's. You once told yourself, "If only I were better, if only I were enough, if only I hadn't trusted, if only I were stronger." Those words were like sharpened blades, not creating sudden wounds, but slicing slowly into your soul. I will heal even those self-inflicted wounds, for they never came from me. You are not defined by what you endured. You are shaped by the love I placed within you. You do not lose value because someone else failed to see it. You do not become less significant because someone did not know how to love you. You do not become invisible because someone overlooked you. Those things are not true. They are echoes of the world. The true voice, my child, is the one that comes from me. As I heal your soul, you will notice a change in how you respond to the things that once hurt you. You will find yourself able to forgive without forcing it. You will be able to look at the faces of those who once wounded you without trembling. You will realize that pain is no longer the theme of your story, but the evidence that you have been reborn. One day, you will look back at what once made you weep and see that it no longer has power. It will be only a chapter of your story, not the author of your future. I want you to understand that healing is never something you must do alone. You have tried to heal yourself for years, but you could only soothe the surface. The deepest places I reserved for myself to touch, for there are chambers of the soul that respond only to gentleness, not to human willpower. I know that you fear this process will hurt, but this pain is not like the old pain. It will not crush you. It will not disorient you. It will not make you feel abandoned. It is the pain of restoration, the tender ache that knows something better is coming. Like the first rain washing the dust off leaves, causing them to tremble, yet refreshing them at the same time. Like a wound being cleaned, stinging slightly, yet signaling healing. When you allow me to touch the deepest parts of you, you will notice a strange lightness. Your breath will grow softer. Your mind will feel less burdened. You will find that you no longer question the future the way you once did. I am changing the way you see yourself. And when you look back at your life through these new eyes, you will see what you never realized before, that you are lovable, chosen, restorable, and most of all, you are not an unfinished project. You are a masterpiece in progress. The journey of healing is not a short path, but it is the only path that leads to true freedom. I do not want you merely to survive. I want you to live fully, not simply to walk. I want you to soar, not merely to be stable. I want you to bloom. And for that to happen, I must heal you exactly where you were hurt. Do not fear this process. I am holding your hand through every step. There is not a moment where you must struggle alone. There is no darkness I will not walk into with you. There is no silence of mine that comes from abandonment. Every silence carries the purpose of healing. Every pause carries the intention of lifting you higher. My beloved child, I want to bring you to the place where light begins to rise from within you. That light is not something I impose from the outside, but something that has been in you from the beginning, waiting only for me to awaken it. For your soul has never truly been dark. It has only been covered by years of weariness. And now, the layers of mist are slowly dissolving so you may see clearly the light you carry. You once believed that radiance belonged to others, those stronger, more confident, more peaceful than you, and that your place was behind them. Quiet, simply making it through the day. But my child, I never created you to live in the shadows. I placed within you a delicate beauty no other soul can replicate. I breathed into you a signature essence that no one on earth can take away. You did not come into this world to live like a silhouette. You came to reflect the light I placed within you. And as healing begins to unfold, that light will slowly reveal itself, little by little, until you realize it never disappeared. Do you remember the mornings when your soul felt lighter than usual? Those moments when you felt loved for no reason at all? Those instances when a smile appeared on your lips without an explanation? Those were signs that the deepest part of you was beginning to awaken. Not a fleeting happiness, but a profound peace, a peace untouched by circumstances, untouched by others' words, untouched by what your eyes can see. That peace is the first signal of your returning light. There are days when you feel as if someone is lifting your heart from within, as though a gentle strength is helping you rise again. You think it is just a good mood. No, that is me supporting you. I place my hand on the deepest part of you, the place no human comfort can reach. And when I touch you, the pain softens. Fear steps back. And what remains is the quiet stability you have longed for. Inner resurrection does not come in an instant. It comes like sunrise, slow, gentle, yet unstoppable. No one can prevent the sun from rising. And likewise, no one can prevent the light within you from returning once I have begun the work. You do not need to force yourself to be strong. Light does not need effort. It only needs space to appear. And as I clear away the old wounds, that space opens, allowing your light to reclaim its rightful place. You are not accustomed to seeing yourself shine. You have grown used to viewing yourself as someone on the sidelines, someone simply trying not to fall, someone small and ordinary. But that is not the truth. The truth is this: you carry a quiet beauty, the beauty of someone who has been broken yet still chooses to love, the beauty of someone who has suffered loss yet still chooses to believe, the beauty of someone who has fallen and yet rises again on trembling legs. Your endurance has become light. Your kindness has become light. Your softness in the midst of storms has become light. Your light does not blaze like the midday sun. It resembles the dawn, gentle, yet strong enough to chase away the night. It does not overpower others. It heals them. It does not boast. It lifts up. And that is why I need you. The world does not need more loud souls. It needs light that listens, light that comforts, light that lifts broken hearts with kindness. You are one of these lights, and as this light returns to you, you will begin to see things you could not see before. You will realize you are not small. You will see that despite the wounds you endured, you carry a purity that cannot be stolen. You will see that your soul can still tremble at beauty, still hope, still trust. That is not naivety. It is strength refined through sorrow. You will begin to love life in a new way, not because everything becomes perfect, but because fear no longer suffocates you. You will begin to face challenges in a new way, not because fear disappears, but because you know I am holding your hand. You will begin to see yourself in a new way, not because others finally recognize your worth, but because you see yourself through my eyes. And those eyes have never viewed you as ordinary. When the light within you rises, the old things will fall away, not because you push them out, but because they no longer find a place to cling to. Darkness exists only where light is absent. When your heart brightens, distorted relationships will fade. Worries will shrink. Those who once took advantage of your kindness will no longer enter your life. What does not belong to you will evaporate like mist under the sun. And then something even deeper will happen. You will begin to hear me more clearly. Not because I speak louder, but because there is no longer noise inside you. No more voices of doubt. No more voices of fear. No more voice of self-blame. Only my voice, gentle as a breath, yet so clear you cannot ignore it. You will know where I am. You will know what comes from me. You will know when I am leading you. And that awareness will become the compass guiding you into the new chapter. Doidai labandish tieng, andai du, sao lang, tieng lieng, murtma. Jia dung tin, thun. Ku truk, va kamsuk, gwen ban. Moi doan duk tring by thundonvi, hoan ching. Kong chia no. Kong roi rak. My beloved child. Now that the light within you has begun to rise after your journey of healing, I want you to prepare for a new reality, the awakening of faith. Not the shallow kind of faith you lean on only when life is calm, but a faith so deep that you can stand firm against opposing winds. Still, recognize my voice even when the world grows loud. Still trust what I speak, even when your eyes see nothing. For the chapter ahead requires not only light, it requires the strength of an unshakable faith, the very faith I am planting in you now. My child, faith does not grow in peaceful days. It grows in testing. No one knows how strong they truly are until they stand against a storm. And no one knows how deeply they can believe until they have nothing left to hold on to but me. In the days when you felt as though you were falling into an unseen void, I was standing there, using that darkness to build faith within you. Those nights when you asked, "Where are you?" Lord, were not signs of my absence. They were proof that I was building a trust in you stronger than fear, deeper than doubt, and steadier than fleeting emotion. Do you remember the times you lifted your eyes to the night sky, searching desperately for even a small sign that I still heard you? The moments you tried with all your strength to remain silent so you might hear my whisper, though your mind was full of noise, the times you felt lost within decisions you needed to make, yet feared making the wrong one. All of this, my child, has never been meaningless. It is the very soil where I sow new faith, faith not dependent on what your eyes can see, but on the one who loves you. True faith is not a feeling. It is a decision. It is the response to my call even when your soul trembles. It is choosing the light even when you cannot yet see the sun. And here is the miracle: when you choose to believe, even by the smallest step, my entire heaven moves to meet that step. For faith never stands alone. It is always upheld by me. My child, I know you once thought your faith was weak. You blamed yourself when your heart grew weary, judged yourself when you doubted, felt guilty when you could no longer feel my nearness. But hear me clearly, faith is not measured by how rarely you doubt, it is measured by how you return after each doubt. Faith is not measured by never being weak, it is measured by choosing me even when you are weak. When you breathe the words, "I still want to believe," even through a hurting heart, that is a faith far greater than you realize. And that kind of faith, humble, trembling, yet sincere, is the most beautiful kind in my eyes. Now that you have been restored in part, now that the light is beginning to spread within you, I want to give you something greater, a calling. Not a calling that thunders from the heavens, but one that rises softly from the deepest chambers of your soul. This calling is not for everyone. It is for those who have walked through fire, who have endured breaking, who have learned how to rise in silence. Those who have never broken cannot understand my tenderness. Those who have never lost cannot understand my fullness. Those who have never wept cannot understand my comfort. But you have known all of these, and that is why you are chosen. My beloved child, my calling begins as an awakening in stillness. It may come as a sudden thought, a strong intuition, a gentle yet persistent stirring. It may feel like you were made for something greater than what you are currently living. It may feel like a strange longing in your heart, as though something within you is rising, though you cannot name it. And yes, that is the calling. It does not force you. It does not demand rapid change. It simply invites. It invites you to come closer, to let me lead, to let me use your story, your losses, your lessons, your rises and falls to touch someone walking through what you once walked through. For no pain you endured was ever wasted. Every scar is a door you will open for someone else. Every tear is a language only those who have cried can understand. I never waste your suffering. I turn it into purpose. My calling may not be clear at first, but it will grow stronger like the spreading light of dawn. You will find yourself drawn toward things you once overlooked. You will feel deeper compassion for those who hurt. You will find yourself becoming more patient, more gentle, more sensitive in how you listen and love. This is not a change in personality, it is me expanding your heart. And soon, there will come a moment when you feel it unmistakably. You no longer belong to your old season. What once held you now feels empty. What once felt safe now feels narrow. Those who once walked beside you but are not going where you are going will begin to drift. This is not punishment. It is the natural parting of souls entering different timings. You are not losing them. You are simply stepping into a chapter they were never meant to enter. My child, the new faith within you will begin to demand courage. You will be invited to step out of what is familiar, to venture into places you have never tried. You will be led into paths visible only to the heartbeat, not the mind. You will face decisions not guided by past experience, but guided by me. But do not fear. Courage does not mean the absence of fear. Courage is walking forward while still afraid because you know who is holding your hand. My beloved child, now that your faith has awakened and my calling has begun to rise within the deepest parts of your soul, I want to bring you to the next sacred moment, the moment you begin walking through invisible crossroads. Not crossroads marked by signs, not ones that are obvious to the natural eye, but crossroads shaped only by my leading and the sensitivity of your heart. This is the part of the journey many fear most, but it is also where I work most powerfully in the lives of those willing to follow. My child, when someone is truly called, they begin to sense strange shifts around them, not because circumstances force change, but because the spiritual realm is opening a new path. You will notice that what once brought comfort no longer satisfies. Decisions that were once simple will no longer feel right. Invitations from the world, though enticing, will fail to reach the deepest parts of you. These are not signs of confusion, they are signs of separation. When I call a soul, I also separate them from what no longer belongs to them. You once asked me, why do I feel disconnected from things that used to feel like home? Because you are no longer standing in the same place. You have been lifted to a higher position not because you are better, but because your time has come. The old season can no longer contain what I am placing inside you. Old ways of thinking, old habits, old relationships, they are all completing their purpose. Not everything must end, but everything will be reclassified. Some things will remain, some will fade, some will become cherished memories, lessons that shaped you. My child, in these invisible crossroads, what I desire is not for you to decide through logic alone, but to allow me to lead. A true calling never demands self-reliance. It always comes with divine guidance. You do not need to know everything before you step. You only need to know the first step. Like a ship leaving the harbor at dusk, unable to see the far shore, yet trusting its compass, you, too, must call me your compass. And when you let me lead, you will never be lost. And then, there will be moments when you feel as though you are walking into a hazy place, unsure of what is happening, uncertain whether you are doing the right thing. But I tell you this, every hazy place is the fertile soil of faith. Without the haze, faith cannot grow. Without the haze, you cannot learn how to listen. Without the haze, you cannot distinguish between my voice, the voice of fear, and the echoes of old memories. It is precisely in the haze that my voice is clearest. My beloved child, walking into your calling always comes with gentle yet profound separations. Not separations meant to isolate you, but separations meant to purify your purpose. Some people will not understand why you are changing. Some who were once close will drift. Some who once held significant places in your heart will no longer walk beside you. They are not wrong. Their journey simply no longer aligns with yours. I do not separate you from others to punish. I separate you to protect what I am planting in you. And there will be times when you feel empty. But emptiness is not loss. It is the necessary space before I pour in the new. Just as a field must be plowed before seeds can be sown, your soul must be cleared of what does not belong to the future. When you feel yourself detaching from familiar things, do not panic. It is a powerful sign that I am making way. Amid these invisible crossroads, you will begin sensing subtle guidance that only an awakened soul can perceive. Sometimes it will be a discomfort when you are about to step into something that is not from me. Sometimes it will be a covering peace when you are walking in the right direction. Sometimes it will be a gentle reminder when your thoughts wander. Sometimes it will be a strong prompting to leave something behind, even when you cannot explain it. Do not dismiss these movements. They are not fleeting emotions. They are my voice leading you. I want you to learn the difference between my encouragement and the noise of fear. Fear speaks with urgency, making you feel pressured. I speak gently, making you feel guided. Fear tenses you. I calm you. Fear makes you run. I make you walk. Fear makes you feel as though you must handle everything alone. I remind you that you never walk alone. Remember this: the calls are not the perfect, they are the listening. I did not choose you because you are strong. I chose you because you are pliable enough to shape. I did not choose you because you do not make mistakes. I chose you because you can repent and relearn. I did not choose you because you have everything. I chose you because you come to me when you have nothing. That is the mark of the chosen. As you walk through these crossroads, you will feel something growing within you. Discernment. Discernment of what comes from me. Discernment of what needs to be released. Discernment of what must be kept. Discernment of what is approaching. Discernment of what you must avoid. This ability does not come from experience, it comes from companionship. No one knows me through intellect, they know me by walking with me. There will be moments when you feel not brave enough to move forward. But here, this courage is not a feeling, it is a choice. It is the response. I do not understand everything, but I agree to let you lead. And that alone is enough for me to open the way. My beloved child, I want to bring you to the moment when you begin to step beyond your limits and recognize the destiny written for you before you saw your first sunrise. This is no longer merely a journey of healing or discernment. This is the journey of rising, the journey of the chosen. Every soul is born carrying a mark, a sacred imprint I carved into them. But not everyone lives according to that imprint. Many are swept away by the crowd, chasing noisy callings, living under the expectations of others, or surviving according to fear. But souls like yours, the ones who have broken, wandered, and wept in silence, are the ones my heart seeks. For such souls carry a softness the world does not understand, but I understand it. They carry the strength of experience, the depth of long nights, the resilience of days with no one beside them. And these very things make you perfectly suited for the destiny I have prepared. My child, stepping beyond your limits does not mean changing everything quickly. It does not require you to become someone entirely different. It requires only one thing: accepting that you were made for more than you ever believed. Limits are not placed by me. Limits are the words fear whispered to you. Fear said you are not skilled enough, not strong enough, not worthy enough. But my voice speaks differently. My voice says your weakness is the perfect place for my power. I have never asked you to be enough. I have only asked you to be open. I have seen how you have shrunk yourself to fit others. I have seen you lower your standards so you would not be left behind. I have seen the times you accepted less because you believed you were not worthy of more. But my child, those things were not humility. They were fear, dressed as humility. You were not made to shrink. You were made to expand. And I say this to you, your season of shrinking is over. The season of staying quiet to avoid disturbing others. The season of hiding your dreams to avoid ridicule. The season of pretending to be strong when your heart was in turmoil. The season of choosing safety instead of what is right. Those seasons are finished. You no longer belong there. You are standing at the intersection between who you have been and who you are meant to become. And I know this moment is not easy. You feel pulled in two directions, the familiar on one side and the vast on the other. What you understand on one side and what I have prepared on the other. You have grown accustomed to relying on what can be predicted. But destiny cannot be predicted. Destiny can only be followed. Destiny never works with haste, it works with surrender. It does not ask whether you are capable, it asks whether you are willing. It does not require that you know the entire future, it requires only that you know me. And now, the destiny is drawing nearer each day. Stepping beyond your limits begins first with stepping beyond how you see yourself. You must leave behind the old image of you, the image built by pain, by others' words, by failures, by heavy memories. You must see yourself through my eyes, eyes that see you whole, strong, beautiful in ways no one else ever has, eyes that see even the parts you hide, and still love you completely. And when you begin to see yourself as I see you, you will realize something you never dared believe: you were created to have influence. Not influence built on noise or power, but influence built on light and authenticity. You will touch others not with polished words, but with your story. You will help someone rise not because you have the perfect answers, but because you once rose in the dark. You will be a refuge for weary souls, not because you are flawless, but because you listen with a heart once wounded but now healed. And that, my child, is destiny, using what you have walked through to open the path for someone else. When I say that your destiny is great, it does not mean you must do extraordinary things in the eyes of the world. Greatness in my eyes is not fame, it is obedience. It is not earthly greatness, it is faithfulness. It is not your excellence, it is my presence in you. You need only walk with me, and I will open everything else. Everything you have ever gone through is now working together to prepare you for the next chapter. Not a single tear has fallen in vain. Not a single prayer has been pointless. Not a single breaking has been meaningless. Every event, every choice, every wound, every moment you chose to rise, all of them are gathering like the great pieces of the destiny I have written for you. I did not call you so you would continue to live small. I called you so you would carry the light you thought you had lost. I called you so you would not only be healed, but also bring healing to others. I called you to become a gentle voice in a noisy world. I called you to become living proof that love still wins. That hope is not dead. That light always returns. My beloved child, when you have recognized your destiny like a seed that has broken through the surface after a long time hidden in the dark, I want to lead you into the next stage of the journey, the moment when you begin to set your feet on the promised land. This is no longer the time to merely think, nor the time to simply watch. This is the time to walk with a new awareness, a wider vision, and a heart softened by restoring light. The promised land is not a place of fleeting imagination. It is a spiritual reality that opens when you have walked through the layers of preparation I have patiently built in you through each season. And now, when your soul has become steady enough, deep enough, and quiet enough to hear my voice without confusing it with fear, I begin to open the gate that leads you into where you truly belong. Do you notice it since those spiritual upheavals? Your vision has begun to widen. What once left you tangled now appears clearer. The questions you held for so long no longer press on you as before. You are starting to sense a subtle yet powerful leading, as though an invisible current were carrying you forward, bringing you into things you never imagined you would be brave enough to receive. This is not an illusion. It is the movement of heaven. The promised land is not like the old land. It does not operate by fear, it operates by trust. It does not rest on your efforts, it rests on my plan. There, you no longer have to fight alone. There, you no longer have to prove your worth. There, you no longer have to seek security in fragile things. For in that place, every step you take bears my imprint. Every door you walk through has been prepared by me, and everything you receive flows from my goodness, not from your striving. Before I lead you into that land, I must be sure your heart is wide enough to receive, for what I am about to give cannot be contained within your old limits. It requires space, the space of trust, the space of obedience, the space created by letting go of what no longer belongs to you. That is why I led you along the long road you just walked, not so you would hurt, but so you would grow, not so you would lose, but so you would learn how to hold what is true. When you step into the new land, you will begin to see things you once prayed for, but never believed you were worthy to receive. Not because you have changed in essence, but because you have been reshaped to fit what I have for you. You will find peace in places that once terrified you. You will find yourself able to make decisions you once thought were beyond you. You will feel a stability rising from within, not because life is easy, but because your heart has synchronized with mine. The promised land is not where you go just to breathe a sigh of relief after surviving many trials. It is where you begin to operate in your true purpose. If the previous chapters were preparation, this is the chapter of activation. Now, you are no longer only being healed, you are becoming an instrument of healing. You are no longer only being loved, you are beginning to reflect that love outward. You are no longer only receiving, you are beginning to give. You are no longer only walking in the light, you are beginning to carry the light. In this new land, you will begin to notice things that seem like coincidences, but are in fact arrangements. The people you meet, the opportunities that appear, the doors that open, all of them have been set in place by me. Nothing is random. Every encounter has meaning. Every situation has purpose. Every step bears my intervention. And I will cause you to realize that you have never been alone, not then, not now, not ever. Do you know why you feel pulled away from the old things? Because you cannot live in the new land with the mindset of the old. The old mindset made you doubt yourself. The old mindset made you shrink. The old mindset made you choose safety over purpose. But now, you have learned how to recognize my voice, to distinguish between the whisper of the Spirit and the echo of fear. You have learned how to stand before a challenge without shaking. You have learned how to listen instead of panic. You have learned to see beyond what your eyes can see. And that is precisely why you are being brought into the new land. When I lead you into what I have prepared, you will see a clear difference. No more doors that remain closed forever. No more half-hearted relationships. No more decisions that make you betray yourself. Instead, you will begin to walk on a path where every stone matters, a path you can feel is right in the depths of your soul, even when you cannot see the end. What I want you to carry into this land is not perfection, but willingness, not your strength, but your trust, not your calculations, but your surrender. You do not need to understand everything. You only need to hold my hand. The promised land is not for the hesitant, it is for those who have learned to believe before they see. And you, my child, are one of them, my beloved child. The next thing I want to teach you is not what to do, but who to become. For in this land, what matters most is not what you achieve, but the identity from which you operate. If you still carry the old image of yourself, you will not be able to fully receive what has been prepared for you. That is why I must teach you how to live from a new identity, the identity of one who is chosen, who walks after me without looking back. First, you must understand that the land I open for you does not operate the way the old land did. In the place you once stood, you had to strive to be seen. Work hard so you would not be replaced. Push yourself twice as much just to feel enough. But where I am placing you now does not rely on competition. It relies on anointing. It does not rest on human strength. It rests on grace. It does not depend on someone's approval. It is grounded in an identity that comes from me. You no longer have to prove your worth, because your worth is not determined by others. It is determined by the one who called you out of darkness into light, the one who saw your value before you did. You no longer need to wear a mask to be loved. You no longer need to pretend to be strong so no one sees your weakness. You no longer need to hide your story out of fear that people will not understand. The new land does not demand disguise. It calls for authenticity. As you begin to live in that authenticity, the first thing you will realize is that your true identity has never been as small as you once believed. You are no longer a trembling soul chasing acceptance. You are no longer a wounded person trying to find a reason to exist. You are no longer a spiritual child striving to please everyone. You are the called, the one I have chosen, the one I walked with through the longest nights, the one I patiently waited for in every moment of silence. As you walk in this new land, you will begin to notice a difference in the very way you move. You will no longer fear walking slowly, because you know I walk with you. You will no longer fear walking quickly, because you know I go ahead of you. You will no longer fear making a wrong turn, because you know I can correct your path. What once made you tense will become your lesson. What once discouraged you will become the rock beneath your feet. What once filled you with anxiety will become evidence that you have grown in me. My child, in this land, I need you to learn how to see with spiritual eyes, not eyes shaped by painful experiences, but eyes shaped by hope. You must learn to see what I am doing even when nothing seems to have changed. You must learn to recognize opportunity even when it comes wrapped as a challenge. You must learn to distinguish between my guiding voice and the echo of fear that tries to pull you back. And you will find that when your sight is aligned, your steps will be aligned as well. When you can see my spirit leading you, you will no longer walk in confusion. When you can see the light I am drawing you toward, you will no longer stop because of doubt. When you can see your true identity, you will no longer bow under the weight of judgment. I did not call you here merely to bring you to this place. I placed something within you that this land needs, not so you would prove your importance, but because you carry what this place has been missing. You carry compassion. You carry peace. You carry perseverance. You carry the gentle light I awakened in you, and what you carry will shift the atmosphere of every place I send you to. But to function properly in this new land, you must learn how to walk lightly, not lightly in weakness, but lightly in trust. Not lightly because you don't know what to do, but lightly because you know everything is in my hands. You no longer need to strive as you once did. If this land is yours, you will not need to compete for it. If this blessing is for you, you will not need to seize it by force. If I open the door, no one can close it. And if I close it, no one can open it. There is something else you must learn. Not every opportunity comes from me, but every opportunity that comes from me carries peace. That peace does not arise from easy circumstances, but from an inner confirmation. It feels like a gentle breeze passing through your soul, like a deep breath reminding you that you are not being pressured. Peace is my language. When peace rests on your step, you will know you are in the right place. And then you will recognize this truth when you walk in your true identity. You no longer need external validation. You no longer need anyone's approval. You no longer need someone to walk beside you to silence fear. You no longer need to be understood to feel legitimate. For only I have defined you. This new land teaches another lesson. Letting go is not loss, but liberation. There are things you must leave behind, not because they are bad, but because they no longer fit. There are people who cannot enter the next chapter, not because they harmed you, but because their role in your life is complete. There are old dreams you must lay down, not because they were wrong, but because I am giving you new ones that match the vision you now carry. When you release something, you open your hands to receive something greater. When you leave a place, you make room for a better one. When you close a door, you are preparing to walk through the one I have opened. And you will see it is not the loss itself that hurts you. The pain comes from believing you could not live without what you lost. But when the new land opens, you will realize you did not lose anything. You merely exchanged something small for something vast. My beloved child, this land is not merely a place for you to live, it is a place for you to flourish. I did not bring you here only so you could breathe easier. I brought you so you could bloom, influence, and radiate the light born from years of transformed sorrow. This is no longer the story of survival, this is the story of spiritual fruitfulness. When a person stands in the place I have appointed for them, they no longer walk as an isolated soul. Their breath begins to synchronize with the breath of heaven. Their thoughts begin to resonate with the frequency of my voice. The beat of their heart begins to reflect the rhythm of eternal love. And when that happens, every step they take carries transformation. That is what is happening to you right now. You thought this journey was merely about you, your healing, your restoration, your awakening. But I tell you something deeper. This journey has been preparing you to become the answer for someone you have not yet met. Someone standing where you once stood, crying the tears you once cried, asking the questions you once asked. And when you stand in the promised land, they will see hope through you. The promised land is not just a blessing, it is the place where you become a blessing. As you enter this new territory, the light within you will begin to draw wandering souls, not because you seek them, but because light never stays still, it radiates. The peace you carry will help others breathe. Your sincerity will soothe troubled hearts. Your patience will become a refuge for the weary. Your purity will dissolve burdens others thought they could never lay down. Do not be surprised when people begin coming to you without knowing why. Do not be startled when strangers share with you things they've never told anyone. Do not be confused when your heart stirs at the pain of someone who has no connection to you. These are not random emotions, this is me moving through you. You were led through darkness so you could understand the darkness of others. You were healed so you could carry healing. You were lifted so you could learn how to lift others. You heard my voice so you could help others recognize it. As you flourish in this land, you will see that the smallest seeds I plant through you can grow into towering trees in someone else's life. A gentle word may save a soul from despair. A compassionate look may help someone believe they are not invisible. A soft smile may break down walls built over years. You will see that your simple presence when you stand in the right place carries power. In this new land, you will begin to discern the seasons I am shifting. There will be seasons to sow, seasons to water, seasons to wait, and seasons to reap. Seasons of silence, seasons of bold steps, seasons of endurance, and seasons of expansion. No season lasts forever. Each changes according to my divine rhythm. And I want you to know, you need not fear the sowing season. You need not fear the waiting season. You need not fear the quiet season. You need not fear the testing season. For every season in this land draws you deeper into purpose. You will come to recognize a profound truth. Everything you have ever endured has equipped you to walk rightly in this season. Your perseverance from past years will become the strength that steadies you through lighter trials. Your old tears will become seeds of compassion you offer to others. The pains you once thought had broken you will become the solid ground upon which you stand when someone else is trembling. I have shaped you with love far more than with suffering. And now, as you stand in the land to which I have brought you, you will see that everything that once tried to break you has become the very platform from which you rise. My child, the promised land I have given you is not merely an outward blessing, but an inward freedom. You will find that you are no longer bound by the expectations of others. You will find that you no longer tremble before the winds of doubt. You will find that you no longer hesitate when I speak. You will find your heart opening wider than it ever has. And in that openness, I will pour new things into you: wisdom, discernment, spiritual strength, and steadfast compassion. You will see this land become not only a place to dwell, but a place of legacy. What you do here will outlive your earthly life. The words you speak will reach hearts you may never meet. The steps you take will open paths for generations after you. The smallest acts you offer will ripple far beyond anything you can imagine. I did not lead you into the promised land only to answer your prayers. I led you here to begin a new flow through you. My beloved child, I want to bring you into the moment where you stand in the right position, fully stepping into the responsibility of one who is sent. This is the stage where your heart is no longer only to receive but to give, no longer only to understand but to walk, no longer only to be lifted but to lift others. Once you step into this point, you will realize that the purpose of your life is not merely to be healed, but to become an instrument of healing. Being sent is not a reward for perfection. It is the sign that your heart has become soft enough for me to use. Those who are sent are not those who know everything, but those willing to learn, not those who are strong, but those who know how to rely on my strength, not those who are hardened, but those who can still be moved by the pain of others. And you, after so many seasons of my shaping, have become one who can hear my voice among 1,000 others. As you step into this season, you will begin to feel a new movement within you. No longer the feeling of being carried, but the feeling of being invited to carry. No longer the need for constant guidance, but the stirring to guide someone nearer to me. No longer the desire for peace only for yourself, but the recognition that your peace can flow into others. This is not a heavy responsibility. It is an honor reserved for those matured in my love. For only those who have been broken can bring deep healing. Only those who have been wounded can lift others with the right tenderness. Only those who have been weak and still risen can give true hope to another soul. I never send someone who has not first been touched, and you have been touched. Not once, but many times. I have bound your heart with kindness. And now I call you to become those gentle hands for others. Beloved child, spiritual responsibility is not like earthly responsibility. It does not arrive as a burden. It arrives as an encouragement. It does not exhaust you. It brings you alive. It does not sink you. It deepens you. Spiritual responsibility is not a load to carry. It is a response to the inner calling, a calling you cannot ignore, because it resonates with the rhythm of your soul. When I send you, I do not place you where you cannot stand. I do not put on you what exceeds the strength I have equipped you with. I do not ask you to reach for what my hand is not ready to lift you toward. When I send you, I go before you. When I open a door, you need only step through. When I place someone in your path, I have already prepared the empathy, the words, and the clarity long before you realize it. In this stage, you will begin to notice a shift in how you view situations around you. What once angered you will become opportunities to practice patience. What once wounded you will become lessons in understanding. Those who once hurt you will become measures of the mercy you are now able to give. Once my light fills you, you will begin to see everything through the lens of eternity, no longer through the lens of old emotions. The one who is sent does not seek power, they seek faithfulness. They do not chase praise, they pursue what is right. They do not seek influence, they seek the frequency of the Spirit. Those who are sent know that true influence does not come from their voice, but from their life, not from loud words, but from a humbled heart, not from what they display, but from what they carry within. When you take on spiritual responsibility, you will begin to sense your direction becoming clearer. Choices that once confused you will now become obvious. Things that once captivated you will no longer hold you. Things that once bound you will no longer weigh you down. You will realize that you no longer live by reaction, but by guidance, no longer running after fear, but running after my word, no longer living according to what others think, but according to what I have planted in your heart. My child, I want you to understand something deeply. The one who is sent does not accomplish anything by their own strength, but by my flow through them. You do not need to strain to appear strong. You only need to let me be strong for you. You do not need to force yourself to love everyone. I will place that love in you at the right moment. You do not need to know the entire future. You only need to know that I stand at its end. You will see that every time you choose love instead of resentment, you shake the spiritual realms. Every time you choose forgiveness over holding on, you break a chain. Every time you choose to stand rather than collapse, you reveal the identity I placed in you. Every time you choose faith over fear, you open a door that only faith can unlock. My beloved, sacred responsibility will also teach you the value of stillness. Not stillness to escape, but stillness to hear. Not silence born of exhaustion, but silence born of receiving new wisdom. Those who are sent understand that every great action is conceived in stillness, where I whisper words no one else can comprehend. When you learn to be still, you will learn to walk correctly. And when you learn to walk rightly, you will learn to act rightly. Child, being sent is not merely doing something, it is operating within the stream of power I have placed within you. That power is not loud miracles or dazzling displays. It is a quiet, steady, continuous flow deep in the soul of the one who is called. This power does not come from your effort, but from your connection, not from striving, but from nearness to me. When you are sent, the first thing you must learn is to guard your heart in peace. For peace is the clearest sign that you are moving in my flow, not the outward calm, but the inward assurance that no matter how strong the winds blow, you stand in the hands of the one who cannot be moved. The one who is sent is not the one without trials. They are the one whom trials cannot consume. You are taught to stand firm, not because the wind has stopped, but because your roots have grown deep into my rock. You will notice a distinct difference. The things that once troubled you will lose their power. The matters that once tangled your thoughts will shrink. The voices that once made you doubt yourself will fall silent. You will be brought into what I call awareness, awareness of my presence in every breath, awareness of my hand in things that appear random, awareness of my voice, both in quietness and in chaos. The spiritual power I have placed in you is not something you must search for. It is something you must receive. It is not something you must build. It is something you must step into. It is not something you must prove. It is something you must believe. When you believe, it flows. When you doubt, it slows. When you connect, it increases. When you drift, it quiets. Everything I place in you operates through connection. Connection to my heart, to my leading, to my voice. Do not forget, true power never creates chaos in your soul. It always brings clarity. Chaos belongs to fear. Clarity belongs to me. When you step into the place assigned to you, your heart will know even if circumstances are not yet perfect. When you walk on the path I have ordained, your spirit will recognize it even if your eyes cannot yet see the outcome. And when you begin to step in the wrong direction, your soul will sense a gentle but persistent unease that is my way of pulling you back. The one who is sent must learn something very important: spiritual sensitivity. Sensitivity is not fearful vigilance. It is the ability to perceive heaven's flow in details others dismiss as trivial. Spiritual sensitivity helps you discern what is my voice, what is ego, what is old pain, and what is temptation. When you are sensitive, you are not pulled by fleeting emotions. You are guided by truth. Old wounds have memory, but they have no authority. My voice alone holds authority. My voice alone is the compass. My voice alone is the flame that lights your steps. If you learn to listen, you will never lose your way, even when the path is dark and the seas are stormy. When you operate in spiritual power, you will realize that even when the same challenges arise, your responses have changed. You will no longer be shaken when someone speaks wrongly of you, no longer wounded when someone misunderstands you, no longer empty when someone leaves, no longer trembling before something new, no longer afraid of losing what was never meant to stay. You will begin to live like one who knows they are protected, guided, covered, and upheld. I want you to know this: my protection is not the absence of storms, but the assurance that the storm will not swallow you. You will still hear the wind, still see the dark clouds, still feel the pressure, but nothing can steal the peace I have placed within you. That peace does not rest on the stability of circumstances, it rests on the stability of me. As you walk through turbulent waters, you will learn not to let fear steer you, not to let doubt lead you, not to let the past bind you. You will learn to stand, not by your strength, but by the truth that I stand beside you. You will learn to say, I trust you, even when your heart aches. You will learn to say, you know better than I do, even when your reasoning cannot be understood. You will learn to say, I will keep going, even when your legs are trembling. And that, my child, that is true power. My beloved, the one who is sent must learn another art, the art of keeping the inner flame burning. For the world can tire you, trials can slow you, and losses can shake you. But the flame you carry is the flame I breathed into you, a flame not extinguished by strong winds, but only dimmed when you cease to tend it. That flame is sustained by my presence, by my word, by worship, by gratitude, by spiritual sensitivity to my voice. There will be moments when you feel as though you are walking against the current, not because you are wrong, but because you are moving in the direction I set. My current often runs opposite the current of the world. But do not be afraid, the place I am taking you is not meant for the crowds, it is meant for the chosen. There will be moments when you feel alone. But this is not the loneliness of abandonment, it is the loneliness of distinction. Light bearers cannot stand in darkness without feeling different. Those walking in calling cannot walk with everyone. Those stepping into a new season cannot depend on the agreement of the old season. And I say this to lift you up. You are not being separated to be emptied. You are being separated to be purified. Not to become weaker, but to become stronger. Not to lose, but to receive something greater. Under the weight of your calling, you will find yourself becoming deeper, gentler, more sensitive, stronger, freer, brighter. You will see that what I have placed in you is not merely enough for you, it is more than enough for those I send to you. Beloved child, the time has come for you to step into a decisive depth, the moment you learn to keep the flame within you burning and understand what it means to walk as one who carries authority from heaven, an authority that does not come from a commanding voice, but from a heart shaped by me in humility and endurance. My beloved child, true authority is not something you display outwardly, it is something you carry in a quiet presence. That authority causes darkness to recognize you, compels trials to reconsider their stance, makes fear shrink its voice, and forces opposed to light to tremble when you stand in truth. Divine authority does not arise from noise, it arises from understanding to whom you belong, under whose covering you stand, by whom you are sent, and by whom you are protected. Child, authority never comes before surrender, it comes after surrender. Only when you yield to me do you become strong in a way the world cannot break. The one who refuses to surrender walks in human strength, and human strength runs dry quickly. But the one who yields to me walks in the strength of heaven, a strength that never fades, never weakens, never falters. In this stage of your journey, I want you to learn to guard the holy flame as a treasure. That flame is kindled by faith, sustained by nearness, and nourished by my word. It is not a flame that roars loudly, but a flame that burns steadily like the bush that blazed without being consumed in the wilderness. You do not need to force it to flare. You only need to keep it from being buried under worry, doubt, or the voices of the world. Trials will come not to destroy the flame, but to prove it, not to extinguish it, but to make it shine brighter. Do not assume trials come because you are wrong. Often they come because you are right. Light meets resistance only when it shines into places where darkness hides. But do not tremble wherever light appears. Darkness must withdraw. You do not enter trials to be devoured, but to reveal the light living within you. As you learn to keep the flame, you will find that negative words lose their power. Old memories no longer restrain you, and old wounds no longer define you. That flame will remind you daily that you are loved, chosen, covered, and upheld. It will remind you that you do not walk alone. It will remind you that you carry something greater than yourself. And most of all, it will remind you that nothing can extinguish what I have ignited within you. When you carry that flame, you no longer need to raise your voice to be heard. You no longer need to fight to be seen. You no longer need to assert yourself to gain recognition. The flame will do the work for you quietly yet powerfully, subtly yet unmistakably. It will set you apart without your trying to stand out. It will distinguish you without your announcing anything. Others may not understand the flame, but they will feel it. The keeper of the flame must learn to guard the heart from small things, for it is not always the storms that shake you, Sometimes it is the careless words, tiny comparisons, or lingering insecurities that wear you down. My child, do not let the insignificant make you doubt what is great within you. Do not let small noises drown out a divine voice. Do not let minor distractions obscure a heavenly vision. You have come too far to turn back because of such things. My child, when you keep the flame alive, you will begin to feel your heart expanding to forgive, expanding to love, expanding to understand, expanding so that you no longer react from fleeting emotions, expanding so that the darkness outside cannot reach the light within. And in that expansion, you will realize that you are no longer merely keeping the flame, you are becoming the flame. I want you to walk as one who has been entrusted with authority. This authority is not the world's authority. It is not used to dominate, to boast, or to prove superiority. It is revealed through your peace, your steadiness, your patience, your confidence, your gentleness. That authority gives you the ability to stand in storms yet still know the way home. It allows you to enter difficult places without losing yourself. It enables you to reflect me without needing to paint a halo around your life. When you walk in divine authority, you will no longer tremble when given a great assignment. You will no longer doubt when I lead you into a new environment. You will no longer believe you are too small for what I am doing. You will know that everything I have placed in you has purpose. Every step I lead you has meaning, and every word I speak has power to transform. And you will know that you cannot fail when you walk with me, because failure only comes when you walk in your own strength. But you have learned to lean on me, and the one who leans on me is never left behind. The one who leans on me is always lifted, guided, sheltered, and sustained. My beloved child, in this moment of the journey, you are no longer merely following the light or learning to stand in the promised land. You are entering something far deeper, the harmony between you and my will. This is not forced submission, nor weary resignation. It is unity shaped by love, trust, and all the years you have walked with me in both your darkest nights and brightest mornings. My will was never meant to be a burden upon your shoulders. My will was never meant to be a distant set of commands you obey reluctantly. My will is a way of life, a spiritual rhythm, a path that leads you home. My will is what makes your soul rest, your heart flourish, and your life carry meaning. When you enter this unity, you will understand that I am not trying to control your life. I am leading you into the place your soul was created to belong. When you follow my will, you do not lose yourself. You find yourself. You do not become dimmer. You become clearer. You are not overshadowed. You are elevated. You are not diminished. You are expanded. For my will never works against your soul. It fulfills it. How many times did you believe I wanted to take away what you treasured? How many times did you fear I was closing doors to hurt you? How many times did you assume surrender meant losing your freedom? But now you see it. Every door I closed was to guide you into a wider place. Everything you lost made room for something better. Every moment you felt broken was the laying of a new foundation. Every pain you endured was not meant to crush you, but to open your eyes to the truth that I never remove anything without preparing something greater. Now, as your soul has matured through the seasons, you can finally see what you could not see before. My will is not the difficult path, it is the right path. Not the painful, narrow way, but the way that leads to freedom. Not restriction, but release. In this stage, the unity between you and my will shall become clearer than ever. You will begin to hear differently, see differently, feel differently. You will discover that the things I call you to do no longer feel like distant orders, they feel like the natural echo of your own heart. You will find that what I stir within you is also what your soul recognizes as right. The two are no longer separate, they become one. This is unity. When you step into that unity, you will no longer wrestle with the question, is this my will or your will? For my will no longer sit outside of you, it will live within you. I will no longer be a distant one you must strain to find. I will be the stream that flows from deep inside your being. You will not have to look up to the heavens to hear my voice. You will only need to lean inward to the altar I have built within your soul. When my will becomes the rhythm of your breath, everything you do carries new life. Small acts gain profound meaning. Ordinary choices carry the imprint of heaven. A gentle word from your lips can shift the atmosphere of an entire room. A simple gesture can soothe a breaking heart. A quiet decision can alter the course of someone's destiny. For when you walk in my will, you walk in the flow of life itself. I want you to understand that unity is not a fixed state, it is a journey. There will be days when you hear me clearly as the wind. There will be days when my whisper feels faint. There will be days your spirit feels bold. There will be days when you feel fragile. But unity is not measured by good days or difficult days, it is measured by connection. Whether strong or weak, you still seek me. Whether clear or uncertain, you still return. Whether steady or trembling, you still say, I want to follow you. And that single sentence is enough to make heaven tremble with affection. When your will becomes the rhythm of your breath, you will begin to notice several truths. First, you will discern the true call. False invitations will lose their pull. Distractions will no longer touch you. Temptations that once swayed you will fade. For a soul that has been satisfied in me no longer hungers for the temporary. Second, you will learn to walk without seeing the full picture. This will no longer trouble you, for you know I stand ahead of you. You only need to step, everything else is mine. Third, you will become a bearer of insight, not the insight born from experience, but from divine illumination. You will see beneath the surface. You will sense motives without being told. You will recognize what is right even when others do not yet see it. And fourth, you will feel free. Free from the expectations of others. Free from memories that once wounded you. Free from fear of failure. Free from the burden of pleasing everyone. Free to live as I have called you to be. This freedom is not wild abandon. It is the sacred seriousness of a soul that finally understands its worth. My beloved child, as unity between you and my will becomes a natural rhythm, I want to lead you into a deeper stage, a life of spiritual maturity, a place where every movement of your life is shaped by the wisdom I give and the steady quiet within your soul. This is no longer the stage of testing or exploring. This is the stage where you walk as one who understands heaven, understands yourself, and understands why you were brought to this moment in your life. My child, spiritual maturity does not come from age, nor from the amount of knowledge you collect. It comes from the deep communion you have built through long nights, quiet prayers, tears poured out, moments of surrender, and every time you chose me over temporary comfort. Maturity is not the absence of weakness, it is knowing where to bring your weakness. It is not immunity to challenge, it is not trembling when challenge arrives. It is not standing by your own strength, it is knowing I stand with you. Maturity of the soul is not perfection, it is sensitivity, softness, and steadiness. Sensitive enough to hear me, soft enough to be shaped by me, steady enough not to be swayed by the world. And now, you stand at the intersection of all three. not because you forced yourself to achieve them, but because this journey has shaped you into someone who fits its depth. My child, when you walk in unity, you will recognize something profound. You no longer search for meaning, your life becomes meaning. Every morning you open your eyes, you will feel that the day does not drift aimlessly through time. It rests within my design. Every word you speak will no longer fall into emptiness. It becomes a seed that may bloom in someone's heart. Every step you take will no longer be merely a physical movement. It is a sacred journey marked by my presence. A spiritually mature person does not live hurriedly, they live deeply. They do not speak loudly, they speak with precision. They do not act in haste, they act under guidance. They do not chase attention, they seek truth. And you, my beloved child, are the very one I am shaping to become such a person. When you walk in unity with me, the question, "What must I do?" will gradually fade. Instead, another question will arise within you. What am I carrying into the place where God is sending me? For a mature soul does not measure value by action, but by presence. And your presence now carries the imprint of heaven. There will come a moment when you walk into a room and feel the atmosphere shift, not because of what you do, but because of what you bring. The peace within you will make others breathe easier. The stillness within you will soothe restless hearts. The clarity within you will make blurred paths clear. And even when you do not speak, your presence will sound like hope. A mature soul does not need arguments to prove the truth. They only need to live the truth. They do not fight to defend themselves. They stand in integrity. They do not strive for position. I myself position them. Your spiritual maturity will teach you that victory does not come from proving you are right, but from standing in what is right. My child, in this stage I want to teach you one of the deepest arts, the art of hearing my voice amid countless other voices. The world may roar, loud enough to drown the most delicate movements of the soul, but my voice, the voice soft as early wind, remains unmistakably clear to the one who listens from within. When you become still, you will hear. When you open your heart, you will understand. When you walk slowly, you will see. Those who walk in unity with me do not follow noise, they follow the word. They do not act under pressure, they act under direction. They do not seek what is merely rational, they seek what is spiritually true. And in this maturity, you will learn to entrust the future without fear. Not because the future is predictable, but because I hold it. You do not need to know everything to walk, for heaven goes before you. You do not need to meet every standard to feel worthy, for you were loved before any standard was ever set. As you walk in unity, the things that once frightened you will begin to lose their power, not because they disappear, but because you transform. Fear will no longer bind your heart. Doubt will no longer govern your choices. Pressure will no longer drive you into frantic movement. You will become gentler, deeper, wiser, like a branch that once shook in the storm, but now stands firm after many seasons of wind. The most astounding miracle of this stage is what I call the naturalness of the sacred. You no longer strive to become light, you are light. You no longer force yourself to be strong, you carry strength. You no longer struggle to love, you become love. Unity makes these things flow from you as effortlessly as breath, and you will notice conversations grow deeper. Relationships become more genuine. Decisions become more precise. Prayers become quieter, yet filled with power. Ordinary moments become saturated with presence. This is the clearest sign that you are walking in living unity. My beloved child, when you have reached the point where my will beats in rhythm with your breath, where spiritual maturity becomes the steady foundation of your inner life, where peace in you no longer trembles before the winds of the world. Then you step into the final stage of this journey. Not an ending, but a beginning, a new page overflowing with life, where you are sent not with trembling hands or a confused heart, but with the steadiness of one who has been refined by fire and watered by unfailing love. You are not sent to be a hero, nor to carry a burden of heavy responsibility. You are sent to carry my presence. This presence is not loud, not ostentatious, not disruptive. It is like a gentle light wherever it goes. The atmosphere shifts, hearts are soothed, and darkness withdraws. You are the one who carries that flame, the flame kindled by your tears, by the long nights you sought me in silence, by the times you rose when you had no strength left, by the dry seasons when you refused to let go of faith. Now, all the things you once thought were weights have become the very things that equip you for your calling. I did not choose you because of perfection, but because your heart has learned to surrender, to open, to soften, to listen, to love. You are not sent because you are superior, but because you understand what those who have never suffered cannot understand. Your wounds have become channels of compassion. Your loneliness has become the ability to embrace others with understanding. Your moments of invisibility have become the ability to notice those who are overlooked. Your story, once a long sequence of trials, has become evidence of my faithfulness and a vessel I can use to carry life to barren places you never imagined. When you walk with the flame within you, you will gradually realize that your mission does not lie in grand acts as you once thought. It begins in the smallest moments, a look that says, "I see you," a gentle word spoken when someone is confused, a listening ear that does not judge, a touch that reminds someone they are not alone, a silence deep enough to hold another's pain without rushing or pushing them away. These acts seem small, but the smallest things often create the most enduring change. Did I not use a simple staff in Moses' hand to part the sea? Did I not use a smooth stone in David's hand to bring down a giant? Did I not use a shepherd boy to raise a king? I can shake mountains with what you consider ordinary. So do not underestimate the small moments in your new life. Within them, your calling may begin. My child, the most beautiful part of this calling is not the things you will do, but the truth that you will never walk alone. You are not sent into the world as a solitary warrior. You are not pushed out to fend for yourself. I do not stand at the end of the road waiting to see whether you will fail. I walk with you. I step beside you. I guard you from behind. I open the way ahead. I place my hand upon your shoulder when you tremble. I whisper when you are confused. I uphold you when your heart grows weak. I pour strength into you when you feel depleted. I am always there in your breath, in your stillness, in your decisions, and in every step you take with faithfulness. As you move forward, you will begin to see clearly that the days of difficulty were not meant to break you, but to forge you into a vessel capable of carrying light into darkness. Every pain has added a deeper layer of compassion within you. Every tear has become a treasury of empathy. Every collapse has turned into the foundation of your maturity. You no longer carry the marks of one who wandered. You carry the marks of one who has been guided. You are no longer wrapped in the identity of disappointment. You have become someone who can see the good even in the gray spaces of others. You no longer fear the dark. You carry within yourself a light that makes darkness retreat. My beloved child, walk with the confidence of one who knows where they belong, who knows under whose protection they stand, and who knows that every step rests within the plan of the one who created both the heavens and your heart. You do not need to fear what you have not yet seen. for I have already been there before you. You do not need to tremble at doors that seem closed, for I hold the keys. You do not need to wonder whether you are enough, for I am your fullness. Remember, you cannot fail when you walk in my will, because even when you wander, I lead you back even when you are weak. I make you strong even when you feel lost. I find you. Therefore, rise with new courage. Open your heart like one who is ready to receive the new winds. Let the flame within you burn not loudly, but deeply, steadily, and in a way that penetrates every place your footsteps touch. You are sent to carry hope, to carry peace, to carry love, to carry my imprint into the hearts that need it most. You are sent to become the answer to a silent cry within someone's soul. You are sent to become the living proof that love heals, that light overcomes darkness, and that compassion can restore what seemed shattered beyond repair. Above all, you are sent so that you may remember the truth. This entire journey has etched into your spirit. You never, not for a single moment, walk alone. I walk with you today, tomorrow, and until the end of all things. Thank you for listening to today's message. Be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so we can continue receiving the living words together, building unshakable faith, and walking in the boundless love of God. Amen.